What is up, my people? I am JP.
And I'm Ryan. What's going on?
We're your CineNerds.
And we're going to get real nerdy today because we got a fun one for you. We're going to dive into 80s nostalgia in movies. So basically, the movies that make us feel like a kid again. For me, at least. I'm sure we think JP and I are going to have completely different options here, so we're going to have a little bit of everything here.
Yeah, I kind of did a list of top 5 movies that I don't know. And some of these are odd movies, and some of these are movies that some of you guys have probably never fucking heard of, but it was films that I put on repeat constantly as a kid, and I loved. And some of them are adult films that I probably shouldn't have been watching as a kid. That was life in the 80s.
I mean, it was. And I totally get it. That's kind of so he's picking stuff that he put on repeat that he shouldn't have been watching. I'm picking the stuff that, for me, it took me back to that moment of being a kid again. So my main list is going to be pretty vanilla, but my honorable mentions, because let's be honest, the 80s and nostalgia, there's a lot. So I've got tons of honorable mentions in addition to our top 5. So do you want to dig right into this?
Yeah, let's go. You want to rock, paper, scissors it?
Sure.
Or do you want to go?
No, let's do it. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Fuck.
How am I doing this?
I don't know. We went from tying every single one to fucking JP's one of the last 2 of these you've done in episodes.
All right, I'll let you go first.
All right. So in 5th place, I'm just going to start it off before I even say the name of the movie. Wolfman's Got Nards. It's the Monster Squad.
What's funny is that's my number 5 too.
Is it?
It fucking is.
I thought we weren't going to have the same thing.
I didn't
here,
think
buddy.
we would, but that is my number 5 too.
So we're talking late 80s, and my grandparents had left me with a friend of theirs who had HBO and our Cinemax, and I didn't have Cinemax. And there was 2 back-to-back films on there. I'll talk about the other one a little later in my list, but one of them was the Monster Squad, and I'd never seen it. And this movie was like Stand By Me, but with monsters, and I fucking loved this movie. I ate it up. I watched this on replay over and over and over. This movie really, really embodied, 0 to 11 for me, if you will. And I couldn't get enough of it, no matter how much I tried. There's so many good one-liners from this. There's so much nostalgia here, not just from the me appreciating it as a kid mindset, but also from the Hollywood monsters and how they came into play into what's his face, Vampire Hunter.
Van Helsing.
Van Helsing, thank you. I don't know why that one wasn't there, but Van Helsing in this was even done right. Like, I just loved everything about this.
Yeah, and it's my number 5 too. I didn't think we would have any of the same. And actually, I say that, but actually, this was the one I thought we might duplicate. But Monster Squad was my number 5, and same reasons. I mean, this is a movie I loved as a kid, and this is a movie I wanted to see in the theaters, and my mom would not allow me to go watch it, and so it was one that I watched on rental. I got from a rental video store when I went to my grandmother's after it hit rental. But I love classic monsters. I love Dracula. I love Frankenstein, The Mummy. I loved all those old classic horror films as a kid. And so to have this film have all these monsters come together in a 80s film, a film that was during the time that I would have been enjoying films of this nature. It was such an important film for me. I watched it all the time. Like you said, all the crazy one-liners. Crazy German guy. Wolfman's Got Nards. There's so many little just one-liners, and even there's a documentary called Wolfman Has Nards. Yeah. It was on Tubi. I don't know if it still is, but you could probably still watch that on Tubi. It's just one of those films that I know I've heard a lot of people complain, oh, it don't hold up. It really wasn't that good. It's not as good as you remember, but it was my go-to. It was one of my go-to films.
Yeah, without a doubt. Me as well. I was definitely a fan of it. Number 4, The Princess Bride. This one held a lot of meaning for me too, because this one was one of those ones that you watch it and you're like, this is like a romance story. What am I don't know if I like this. But at the same time, you'd leave this movie and you'd hear, "My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die." Over and over and over, be repeating in my head. The six-fingered man, the sword fights, Andre the Giant, inconceivable. There's so many amazing characteristics to this, and it's a fantasy tale. And the best part, you got a grandpa reading to his grandson that's telling him this whole story. So I love this movie. I think this movie embodies and catches a lot of imagination for younger people, and I try and get my youngest, who's 12, to watch this now, and he gives zero craps about it. But if he would give it the time of day, I know he'd love it just as much as I do.
You know what's funny? This is not even an honorable mention for me. But I love the Princess Bride. But for me, 80s nostalgia, for me, this is a movie I skipped as a kid. This is not, I remember seeing just the title, The Princess Bride. It did not appeal to me. I thought, well, I don't want to see this movie. It's not anything I want to watch. I didn't watch this movie until probably in the 90s. It was later when I finally watched this film, and I was like, oh, well, this movie's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, why did I not watch this as a kid? But so this movie was not any movie that would have made a list for me. That's something that I grew up passionate rewatching in the 80s, because I skipped it, even though I love the film now.
That's fair.
My number 4, and literally talked about this movie previous podcast episode, and probably multiple previous podcast episodes. And this is a movie I still put this movie on just for the fuck of it, because I love the movie so much. Heathers.
Yeah, we have talked about that quite a bit.
And Winona Ryder, Christian Slater. It's basically 80s. I think it was a 1989 film. It was an 80s version of Mean Girls, you know, and with all the Heathers, you know, that were just, you had Shannon Doherty, you had Winona Ryder, you had a great cast, and the movie's just it's bonkers. It's a dark comedy, you know, and this is a movie that still to this day gets played on repeat, and I watched it nonstop the moment I first saw it when I was young.
That's fair. I saw this probably early 90s, and that movie resonated because I think it was 93, 94 when I had my freshman year in high school, and there were definitely a few people who reminded me of characters from this movie, without a doubt. And at that time, I was starting a new high school on top of it all. It was just, it's very relative to my life, but early 90s for me. So yeah, I'm here for that. I have a tie at 3.
Okay.
And it's weird.
You always have a tie, so
I do. I put ties in there because this whole list is really, really a hard list to process. I'm about to text my family and tell them to stop blowing up my phone, because if you keep hearing dings, I'm sorry. Anyways, the whole list is a rough one, because, like we said, there's so many great movies that came out of the 80s that remind us of our childhood and took us back. But in this instance, Return to Oz.
I love Return to
Oz. The Never-Ending Story.
I love the Never-Ending Story.
Yeah.
And I would honestly put both of those on my honorable mentions.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt. And just so we're clear, too, just because it is way too obvious, there's no Star Trek, there's no Star Wars, and there's no Indiana Jones on my list.
No, I didn't include.
I left those. Those are obvious ones to me, so I just left those out.
And actually, I'll tell you, my top 2 are pretty unknown films.
Return to Oz. So this one to me is amazing because, you know, even before I saw this film, I had grown up at that point seeing the original Wizard of Oz, and which, for when it was made, held up beautifully for me seeing as a little kid. But to see this version of this with the Wheelers and the dark side of Oz and how everything, like it was, and then I found out later growing up that was more true to the book and the original versions of what was intended. And I was even more intrigued to the whole aspect of Oz and everything about it. It became more appealing, all the way into this recent mockery of Wicked. I won't get into it, but
Not watched it.
no, but the main character who plays the witch, she essentially was offended by a fan art piece that was made that just basically recreated it, changed the poster, recreated it, and made it a similar to the cover of the book Wicked. And she took offense to that, and I thought that was kind of crap because it was just a fan trying to have fun and do what was right for the original intention. But that aside, check it out if you haven't seen Return to Oz. I highly recommend it. Different take completely on Wizard of Oz. Great. Never Ending Story. This one, it will never not be part of any top 5 80s list, I think, for me. The Never Ending Story, the first one, there's just something that's beautiful, magical, intense about it. I feel like as we all get into our grown-up lives or our real jobs and the seriousness of life, we tend to lose creativity and imagination. And in this instance, that's what they discuss in this movie. There's a darkness, there's the nothing that's sweeping through this world and destroying this beautiful land of the never-ending story. And it is insane how relevant that is because we get so swept up in technology and all these things that the simple things of imagination and joy that are there are being lost to our kids as we go through these days. So that it's all about tech and what's right in front of you and not having those creativity outlets. So I think that movie's beautiful and stunning.
Yeah, and I love Return to Oz, and that's both of those, Never Ending Story and Return to Oz, are dark films. I mean, we watched those as children, and man, those films were dark and deep for kids films.
Fuck. Yeah. Like that. Anytime somebody made a cosplay of the horse in the mud and was wheeling it around on wheels, and I'm like, what? And it was a little kid that played Atreyu, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like that shit's not okay.
There is some dark shit in both of those films, and I loved those films growing up. And like I said, those were honorable mentions for me. I could have put them in my top list, but they wasn't the films that I watched on repeat, but I watched them a ton, because I love those. I just fucking love those films.
It's funny because I talk about tech and bitch about tech and people losing imagination, but I do believe there is an element of creativity and imagination in video games, and I'm a big video game advocate. And one of the games I played was the Ghost of Tsushima. This game, you have a horse that's your sidekick throughout, and the horse dies in the middle after you've already been just all about it. And I knew it was going to happen. I already had that told to me, and I played the game, and I still yelled out Artex afterwards. So I was like, it was all over again. No, it's just solid 2 movies.
All right, so my number 3, Night of the Comet.
Okay.
This is a film that I watched on repeat constantly.
I love that movie. I really did.
I love Night of the Comet, and it's a fun movie. I mean, it's a comet comes by, people turn to dust, and the people that live start turning into these wild zombie characters, and you get mad. You got scientists trying to figure out how to save themselves, and it's a bonkers movie. I mean, it's straight 80s. I don't even know how else to describe it. I mean, in the end of the world, post-apocalyptic world, and these 2 girls are just trying to figure shit out, and then they go to the mall. This is so 80s.
I have to laugh. I don't know how many of you old-timey people out there remember this candy, but there was a candy called Bonkers. You just said Bonkers, and it really took me back a second because they had strawberry, grape, and chocolate, and I loved those.
Remember Boppers?
Remember Boppers?
The snack that was like peanut butter, like with nuts all around it and everything.
No, wait, what are we? No, we're talking about 2 different things.
Yeah, it was called Boppers, and it was peanut butter filled, and it had like nuts and different things wrapped around all the outside, and that was like my favorite snack ever. And they discontinued them. They wasn't around but maybe a year and a half, and they discontinued them. If you look in the film The Lost Boys, which is another honorable mention in mine, at the very I think it's at the very end when the grandpa goes to his old fart drawer. It may be earlier when he's showing the old fart drawer or the old fart drawer in the fridge at the end. He opens it up and there's a box of those boppers snacks in his old fart bar.
Yeah, he doesn't even say don't touch my boppers or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm like every time I watch The Lost Boys and I see that
chocolate,
scene, I literally look at that scene and go, "There's that fucking snack that I was obsessed with, I loved," and I see it every time I watch this film.
You know what's funny? So next time I go, so we have BA Sweeties, which is one of the largest candy warehouses it's supposedly in the world, but we have that in Brook Park here in Ohio, and I'm gonna go check that out and see if they have those. Now that you said that, because they have most of those old things.
I found a recipe on how to make them at home.
Yeah, but you and I both know when we try and do that, it's never the same.
Yeah.
It's not just right. Like you gotta to really take you back with that flavor. Like you have to. Yeah. Chuckles is another one that does that for me too. Like Chuckles were one of those candies. I still see those out and about.
The Boppers wasn't really a candy; it was a snack. I will say that it was just like a peanut butter snack. But yeah,
you said chocolate.
I think some of them you had a little bit of chocolate in them. Not much, but
candy to me.
It was more peanut. It was really just a peanut butter and nut kind of snack.
Well,
good stuff. My
number 2, since you just talked about it, I'll just piggyback into that, is The Lost Boys.
Oh.
So The Lost Boys, man, oh man. So at 6 years old, as most of you know, I saw the original Night of the Living Dead, and so I was definitely already watching horror films at a very young age. However, I didn't get to see them that often. The other film that I was talking about besides Monster Squad was The Lost Boys. And I'll never forget, my grandmother showed up, and I was only like 3/4 of the way through Monster Squad. And I was like, I don't want to miss Monster Squad, and I want to see Lost Boys afterwards. And my grandmother had a friend, her name was Mrs. Green. This is who I stayed with. Mrs. Green goes, you know what, Ryan? I'm going to record both the movies for you, and I'm going to make sure that you have those next time you come over here. And she delivered. She gave me both of them on one VHS. I watched both of them non-stop, and like every single time. Frog Brothers, Michael, every aspect, everything about Lost Boys is like almost a perfect vampire film to me. I love it. It is just such a good film. It takes me back especially what they're wearing, how they're acting, the mullets, the sax man, like all of that is so good.
Yeah, Lost Boys. Honestly, Lost Boys should have been within my top 5, but I really just put it as an honorable mention because my top 2 I watched even more than the Lost Boys. But yeah, like you, I watched Lost Boys. I mean, I could quote that movie start to finish at one point in my life. I watched it so much, and it's one of my favorite vampire movies ever.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just that movie's just it's like the fucking one of the best. It's one of the best vampire movies. Period. And it's so 1980s too, with the hair, the clothes, the outfits, the theme parks. Like everything about it screams 1980s, and that's definitely one of my favorites as well.
All right. So what is your number 2, sir?
So I'm going to pull it up here. It is a 1989 movie, and this one is available on digital. Actually, it says it is on Tubi. And it is a 1989 film called Catch Me If You Can. Did you ever see this one?
Is this Tom Hanks?
No, that is way later.
What is this? This
is basically the Fast and the Furious before Fast and the Furious, a decade before the Fast and the Furious. It is about a student who is a street racer that cons the class president into taking fundraiser money to save the school, to bet it on car races to try to save the school, and also to put extra money in his pocket because he's a lives on the wrong side of the tracks kid that is trying to save money to go to college, to better himself. But the only way he can earn money is by street racing. And I fucking love this movie. There's a lot of recognizable people in this film. Grant Hesloff, which I wouldn't know his name, but you know him by recognizing him. Jeffrey Lewis, you remember him?
Mm-hmm.
He's in this movie. Emmett Walsh is in this movie. And you heard me and other Ryan from Whole Damn Enchilada talk a lot about him in the Sundown Vampire and Retreat episode. But there's a lot of recognizable people in this film, and it's one that if you never watched this film, if you like car movies and you like racing movies and you like 80s movies, this movie is, the production on this film is like really for the 80s is so good, and it's this movie got played non-stop at my house. Like, I fucking loved this film. I still watch this film. I found a copy on DVD because I never did find a Blu-ray release for it that I've had for a long time, and when it came out on digital, I bought this film on digital. Anytime I see this film at like a better version or better quality version, I will buy this film, like, because this, I've wore out I don't know how many VHSs of this, like when I was a kid.
All right, I'm gonna have to check that out because I don't think I remember that one. So I'm definitely gonna go back. So, all right,
you get your number one.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
This one hits hard. Transformers, the movie. And the reason I choose that is because the first 15 minutes of this movie for a little kid is crushing. I waited every Saturday morning to watch the Transformers roll out and watch them beat the shit out of the Decepticons. Every Saturday morning faithfully. And in the first fucking 15 minutes of this movie, they kill Optimus Prime. And I don't care if you haven't seen it because it was made in the 80s, so I'm sorry if I spoiled it for you. But Optimus Prime straight up dies. And as a little kid watching Optimus Prime fall, his arm drop, and he turns black and white, and his eyes go from color to nothing, I was devastated. You see battle-torn versions of him where his face plates or his chest plates all cracked up. And then it's like one after other, Ironhide goes down. All the Transformers start like getting killed, and it is insane. And yes, there's a whole new generation that comes up, and I loved Hot Rod and Unicron and all the aspects. But God damn it, Transformers definitely were a big part of my 80s. This movie was the first movie that taught me about loss on a hero level in a movie and how it can happen and how quick it can happen, because I was not expecting that. And I was mortified for this movie. It fucked with me bad.
Transformers is definitely an honorable mention on mine, and same reason, I was in the theater. I watched this film in the theater, and I bawled my eyes out when Optimus died. But I was one of these young kids that, a lot of kids did not like latch on to Hot Rod, and I loved Hot Rod.
I loved him.
I love Rodimus Prime.
We all know my love for conflicted villains. Starscream.
Starscream was the best.
Yes, and so I love him, and the whole scene of him and his death too. That was fucking with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was incredible, and Hot Rod was in that vein too. Though Hot Rod, I just felt like he knew the shoes he had to fill, and he tried to do the best he could with what he had, and it got done.
Yeah. I love the Transformers.
Bari, Vinny Bomb. I'm probably butchering that, but the junk men are hilarious. What is your number one, JP?
So my number one is a movie that I'm sure most of you never heard of, and it was definitely the movie that I watched more than anything as a kid. It is a motorcycle movie, and it is Winners Take All.
Never heard of it.
Now, the unfortunate thing about this film is it's not available on digital. I'm sure you can find like a version on YouTube.
Winners Take All.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure you can find a version on YouTube, but it's not available on digital. And this is one of these films that you hear me talk every now and then about how I'm constantly looking for certain films to hit digital so I can buy them or watch them like a new digital version. This is one of the main ones I constantly check for, and it never comes up. Has never been on digital. I do own this, and you can find a copy of this on DVD. but it is a dirt bike racing film, and it's about Supercross.
Okay.
And it stars Don Michael Paul, who some of you guys know. He's actually a director-writer now. He's done a lot of directing, but he starred in Rolling Vengeance, and he starred in Robot Wars. He was the main guy in Robot Wars. He's directed random stuff like some of the Death Race movies and just different stuff. He's more known as a director now, but I was a big Don Michael Paul fan back in the day. Peter DeLuise was co-star in this, and so was Courtney Gaines, Malachi from Children of the Corn. There's multiple recognizable people in this film. But growing up, I grew up in the mountains of North Carolina and rode dirt bikes. Me and my brother rode dirt bikes a lot, and we had this whole side of a mountain. Like my grandfather owned a cattle farm, and so we had like all this land and like a whole huge side. I don't remember how many hundreds of acres it was. I mean, it was huge. Logging trails where my grandfather had, let people go up and sell lumber and whatnot. So we had all these crazy logging trails that we used to ride motorcycles on the side of this mountain. And this film always reminded me of where we lived and what we did when my grandfather's still on his cattle farm, because where the main character's from is like in an area, but it's not like in North Carolina mountains, but it's like out west in an area like that where he has like all these crazy hills and trails, and they make their own makeshift kind of supercross course there. But it's one of these movies. This kind of like the Rocky of motorcycle racing. This kid that just looking for a chance, looking for his shot. And not even a kid, but younger guy trying to look for his shot to do supercross and ride for an actual team like Honda or Yamaha or Kawasaki, whoever it is. And there's also this big rival team. But it's the best. I still say it is the best motorcycle dirt bike movie ever made. And I usually watch like a lot of these as they come out, and even more modern ones. I've never seen one that topped it for me.
What was the other big one in the 80s that came out that was about motocross?
Now
I'm curious. Motocross movies.
I know in the 2000s you had that Supercross movie that had the guy from Shameless in it.
I don't know. On Any Sunday, Dust to Glory.
Dust to Glory was a good one. I remember Dust to Glory.
Unchained, 199 Lives, A Day in the Dirt, The World's Fastest Indian, Winner Take It All.
Yeah.
1987, there it is. Motocrossed.
I remember Motocross. That one was a fun one.
Charm City Kings, Behind the Bullet. I don't know. Yeah, none of those.
Yeah.
There's something else. I swear there's a movie I saw when I was a kid that was along those lines.
There was a bunch of those randomly that popped up back then. And so a lot of them were pretty forgettable.
Yeah, that's fair. But I'm glad that your top two, I'll add to my watch list and get those in motion, because I don't think I've seen either of those. So,
yeah. And those were, and I still watch them. Still to this day, I watch those two films a lot.
Yeah, like the original Dark Crystal. That's one of those ones for me too.
Dark Crystal I was never a fan of.
That's fine. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean,
I wish people were more aware of it and the painstaking work that went into that first one, because when the second one got made, or the series, should I say, it was a series or movie. I'm having a brain fart.
It was a series.
Yeah, and so when that series came out, nobody really gave it its due diligence of what it deserved, because it's a solid watch. But anyways, honorable mentions. I got a shit ton. How about you?
Oh, I can give you more.
So I'm just gonna rattle off all of mine, and if we want to discuss afterwards, or you tell me anything that you've got, cool. So you talked about Gleaming the Cube. So Gleaming the Cube and Rad were two of mine. Mm-hmm. The Goonies, Labyrinth, Return of the Living Dead, Time Bandits, Enemy Mine, Last Starfighter, Tron, Superman 2, and Back to the Future. All pretty standard staples for me.
Yeah. A lot of those I would definitely would be my honorable mentions. You what was it? I'm trying to see what you said again.
Return of the Living Dead, Time Bandits, Enemy Mine, Last Starfighter, Tron.
Last Starfighter, Tron, and Superman 2. That was one. Yeah, Last Starfighter was definitely a staple for me.
Yeah.
And obviously, and I was going to say Superman 2.
But wasn't Superman the first one in the 70s?
But yeah, it was.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it would be Superman 2. Ferris Bueller's Day Off was, was another one. And obviously Highlander was another one.
Highlander, and then and also it needs to be talked about, even though it's the obvious, The Breakfast Club. Because I
watched that one
good.
a lot, but I didn't watch it as much as others. I will say there is a Stephen King film that I watched a lot on repeat as a kid, which is my honorable mention, which is Stand By Me.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Maximum Overdrive, because we've talked about that.
I do. What Maximum Overdrive probably could be on this list too, but Stand By Me got played constantly.
Well, I talked about that too. So that's, to me, Monster Squad is a monster version of Stand By Me.
Yeah.
So,
obviously, another one for me, Weird Science.
Oh yeah, that's a solid one.
That was one that I watched constantly. I mean, the Shit Monster.
What was the movie that was like that? Genius, Real Genius.
Real Genius. I liked Real Genius.
That's a great one
with
too.
Val Kilmer.
Yeah. Same. That's the same vein to me. So
kind of. I prefer Weird Science, but I did like Real Genius, and I think that's one that a lot of people missed and forget about.
Mm-hmm.
But that one's a fun one. And the main antagonist in it is the jerk district attorney or whatever he was from Ghostbusters.
You know what other one I forgot about, which easily would have been a fixture on this list? The original Howard the Duck.
You know that one. I watched that one a lot.
I love that movie. I watched that so much.
And Highlander.
Yeah. Oh, Highlander. Highlander was. I think I've told the story before, but like my uncle, we were having a family day on my mom's side, and my two uncles took me to the video shop, and we're looking at movies, and I wanted something cheesy, like something on this list, and I had no interest in Highlander whatsoever. And my uncle's like, "I'm videoing you. I'm sorry, Ryan. Highlander it is." And so I would get back to the house, and I start watching it, and my mom, she was like, "It's too much. He's too young," and she was trying to be a responsible parent. But my uncle's won, and I got to see it, and I didn't all the beheadings and the lightning, and I was hooked. Oh yeah. I was running around the house going, "There could be only one."
I still argue that Clancy Brown in Highlander is one of the greatest villains of the 80s.
Yeah, I mean he's up there for sure. No conflict in him. He's just straight villain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean he's wanting the heads.
You got any honorable mentions yourself over there?
I just told you.
Well, you told me most of the ones that are.
Well, I told you a bunch of. I just mouthed off a bunch.
Well, I thought you were bouncing off what I had already just given. Sorry, I didn't know if that was your actual list.
No, I was.
Okay, well, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, I mean, I can
keep going too. Yeah,
keep going.
I kept thinking about more and more as we were talking too. Like it's just
Crocodile Dundee. Let's talk about some. There's one.
That's not a knife.
I was all about some Crocodile Dundee and Paul Hogan.
What year was Buckaroo Banzai? Was that 70s?
I think that was early 80s.
Okay, so
but I didn't watch that one a lot. I liked the movie, but it wasn't one of
I
mine.
saw it a couple times because my pops would put that on. But and fucking Heavy Metal.
That was another one I didn't watch a lot. I liked it, but it wasn't.
Well, I wasn't allowed to watch it. But
I wasn't allowed to watch it.
I would pretend
either,
like I was asleep, and my eyes would be just kind of open to see. So I'd see Heavy Metal, and that was awesome. And I'd see the cartoon titties bouncing everywhere, and I felt great about it.
There was the adult Felix the Cat movie that came out in the 80s. Yeah, you don't remember that?
No.
It's hard to find too. Like it was an adult Felix the Cat movie, and he gets sucked into a different dimension or something, and like he's doing drugs and
like
all
Sinbad, Shazam.
No, it exists. This does exist, but like there's drugs and sex and prostitution in it. Like, dude, it got crazy.
So they did like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I actually looked for that film a while back and could not find it, but then I ended up finding like that it did exist. It's hard to track down, but I couldn't actually find a version of it to watch. But I found like the posters for it and like and whatnot. So it's not like a Mandela effect. The film does exist. It's just they buried that fucking movie.
Listen. The Sinbad thing's not a Mandela effect either. They just tried to whitewash this shit out.
Oh,
Not whitewash it, but they tried to get rid of this shit. So
I agree. I remember that shit.
yeah, I do too. Clear as day. All right, guys. Well, CineNerdsPodcast.com is where you can get all of your up-to-date, wonderful installments of what we're doing. In addition to that, we've been talking about it now for a little bit. We've got our merch store up. It's a new merch store run by Custom Perfect Designs, right? Is that it? I think it's Custom Perfect Designs. And
sweet.
Oh yeah. He messed it up, and I've been memorizing it, and now we're going to make sure that we have this correct. I don't care how long this takes. You're going to wait, and you're going to hear it. You're going to love it. Okay, you're waiting a little longer than you wanted to, I know.
Seemingly
perfect designs.
That's it.
Yes. I knew I was somewhere in there. But
we fucked up.
It is small businesses on her side. Angie's her name. She's doing it right. She's a small independent business, just like we are with this podcast. So by purchasing merch, you help us continue to grow, and you help her business continue to grow. So you're helping two independent small businesses, and we appreciate it. And if you can't buy merch, or you aren't able to, then share all of our info and spread the word. That's the easiest thing you can do to help us grow.
If you're watching the live chat, when we get done, click like on this video, comment in the regular comments, leave us some feedback. If you're listening later, leave us a comment, click like on this video, or if you're listening on the audio listeners, if it lets you click heart it, if it lets you comment, or if it lets you leave a review on our channel, which please do all the above. And
have we had reviews lately?
I haven't. I'll be honest with you, I haven't looked lately, but I don't think I've seen any.
We're going to dig into this because I think I've told you before, and I mean this. I'll read the good and the bad. We'll have fun with this.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been lacking on actually checking them, but I haven't seen any pop up. But we do want to get back on that. But yeah, anytime you comment, click like or heart or anything like that, it helps bring us up in news feeds. If you're on the Facebook, share our stuff. If you see a flyer or if you see something like that for an episode, please share it. Every bit helps. It helps reach other people. It helps bring new fans in, and that's what we want. We want to keep building this.
What he said.
Till next week, guys.
Later.
Peace.